Welcome into Ben's Restaurant out in Berlin Center, Ohio. I'm Chris Colucci here with the phenomenal Coach Armeni. Coach, how you doing this week?
Not too bad. It's always nice to be 1-0.
Let's go right into it. 1-0. Playing a good Crestview team. They got three-headed horsemen in the backfield. What was the game plan coming into that week, and how do you guys feel like you executed?
Well, week one is the only week of the year where you get like multiple weeks to prepare. So we've been kind of prepping our kids for the physicality of that game, all summer long. They are a very good football team. They have a tradition down there. They have an experienced group back. They have a 1,500-yard rusher back. They have multiple guys that can play quarterback. They're good up front. So we knew that it was going to be a battle, and our guys kind of rise to the challenge, physically, and did a wonderful job, executing when we needed to. It was a little sloppy at times, but all summer long, too, we basically said we had to hang our hat on our defense. We have 8 starters back, including in the middle, an All-Ohio middle linebacker who set the school record in tackles. We have 2 phenomenal safeties in Chris Pater and Jack Darney. We have good corners. We have 3 starters back on the defensive line, including an All-Ohio defensive end in Isaac Burnett. Don McCarty, a great athlete at outside linebacker. So we basically said, hey, put us on your back early, get some stops. And other than that first drive, they did a pretty good job of making, stops and getting us short fields. And then the offense came around. We executed. We wore on them a little bit, running the ball. And we were able to shake loose. Our athletes were able to shake loose on occasion, and able to eventually come away with the W.
Last season, you guys had a completely turnaround season. Few years, they were kind of not winless, but a losing record team, and kind of turned it around. You guys felt some pieces. Luke Henning, great quarterback. Fortunately, lost him to graduation. You got a new quarterback. There's some changes going on with the offense. I know you're calling the plays for the offense this year. Talk to me about some of those changes that have went on. You got Pater at quarterback. You're calling the plays. Darney's outside playing every position. I liked it. He was on position. He was athlete. He wasn't a specific position. He was athlete.
Yeah.
What are some of those changes you guys had to do, and how did you guys adapt to them?
Well, that's kind of the only constant in high school football is that things are always changing. We tell our kids all the time, and you know this because you grew up in one, good programs graduate good kids.
Yep.
I don't, you show me a team that didn't graduate any good players, I'll show you a team that wasn't very good. So we certainly did that. We graduated a lot. 3 starters on our offensive line, and those guys were good. You mentioned Luke Henning, but there were lots of other guys. Josh Stamp, at tight end, we graduated him. Joey Sigworth, another inside line. There were some guys that we graduated. We missed those guys, and they left some big shoes to fill. But our young guys are very, very hungry. They want to leave their mark on the program. They want to play in playoff games. They want to win league titles. And when you have highly motivated young guys who have some talent, you have a recipe for success there. They're going to have their hiccups along the way. You mentioned, Chris. We're asking Chris to play a new position, and it's not fair to him sometimes because that's a position everybody sees on every play. You touch the ball every play. And he's hard on himself, but he's a special athlete. He's a hard runner and hard worker. So we know that we're safe when the game is in his hands. I think that it's going to be, a work in progress. We are not the best version of ourselves right now, but that's why you get to practice and play every week so you can keep moving forward.
How different is it now that you're the play caller, standing, you're watching the play going in, you're hearing the play going in, now you're calling the shots? I know there was some coaching stuff where a coach, he's got a family. He's got other things he's got to take care of. He unfortunately had to drop football, and you took over the play calling. What's it like this year calling the shots?
It's been quite a while since I've done that, to be very honest with you. But all along, it's been my offense, So at different stops along the way, we've ran the same plays. So I'm not completely unfamiliar with it. It is nice to be able to click over and say, hey, I see this, let's do this, and someone else make the call where now I have to do that. It's just about juggling a lot of different hats. case in point, there were a few times on Friday night or Thursday night where I'm engaging and coaching up guys on defense, and I'm talking to special teams guys, and then, oh, by the way, we have the ball, we're on the clock, you got to make, So it's about getting used to a new flow of the game. But I'm an offensive lineman, so it's what I know is to run the football.
Yep.
We have 3 guys, that can carry the rock. Our quarterback, we have a couple of tailbacks. There's really 4 guys that can carry the rock and do it really well. We're big and strong up front. So that's what we want to do, essentially. So we try not to overcomplicate it, to be honest.
First 2 weeks are kind of little wonky weeks. You're playing on a Thursday night, week 1, and then you're playing this Saturday against Trinity. What's Trinity look like? What can you – I know you can't give me everything, but what are you guys seeing on film from Trinity?
Well, I'm not a big fan. I'm a creature of habit, so I'm not a big fan of Thursday games and then Saturday games, and especially not back-to-back. Playing a Saturday game fair week is probably not the smartest thing to do when you're in Berlin Center, to be quite honest with you. But it is what it is, and that's what we have to go do and take care of business. Trinity is a tradition-rich football program. They have a state title in the 80s. They're in the playoffs every year. They're much larger than us. I believe they are Division 5. So we open up with 2 Division 5 playoff teams, basically, is what we've been telling the kids. They are extremely athletic. They have a couple of tailbacks, number 1 and number 3, who run the ball very hard. And they have we've been joking around and calling them, Steve McNair all week long at quarterback. They have a tall, smooth, athletic quarterback who scored 4 touchdowns last week. So it's quite a challenge, to be honest, to go up on a Saturday out of the ordinary, routine and have to play some really athletic kids. So. We're gonna try to rally to the football. We're gonna try to keep the ball out of their hands as much as we can and run the football. So we're gonna try to do what we do.
Fair week out here in Berlin Center. It's in the Canfield Fair, but it's very country out here, to say the least. A lot of kids showing animals. How do you guys attack this week of practice? With some kids may have to miss. It sucks, but some kids may have to miss practice. How, as a coach, do you guys prepare for this kind of a weird week?
Well, you always try to limit distractions. And we tell our kids that if you're not able to be there, the workload doesn't get lighter for the rest of us. We have to pick up the slack. And our kids understand that. And there are some kids that are going to miss here or miss there or have to leave early. But I think it's, like anything else in life, it's about communication, and figuring that out and making a good game plan. It is certainly a big deal. It's certainly a big deal here, and the only thing I knew of the fair was, let's go out and let's eat, walk around a little bit. And here it's basically part of their religion.
Yep.
And I get that, and I can respect that. It's an exciting time of the year. I wish we didn't play football games in the beginning of August and middle of August. I wish we didn't start till after Labor Day like it was when I was their age. It seems to start earlier and earlier, and we add more playoffs and more playoffs. And I'm not a fan of any of that, and I've been very vocal about that. But, it's just try to limit distractions, and make the kids understand that, fair week will be a lot better being 2-0 than being 1-1.
Good thing about Western Reserve is coming from South Range, we went the week before the fair. Kids don't go back. So these first 2 weeks that are kind of a little weird, you're playing on a Thursday, Saturday, they don't have to go back to school till after the fair. And then week 3, you get normalcy. Is there difficulties with them not being in school?
I don't really recognize any more difficulties with that. I actually think it's probably an advantage, because then we're not all scrambling and they're not overloaded. I think the week they go back to school is actually the most challenging, because then they're getting books, they're planning for the classes, and trying to figure out their daily routine, and it becomes a little bit of a distraction. Obviously an important one, because they need to get a quality education, but I think the week they go back is a little bit more distracting than the weeks before.
I remember we always had the worst Monday practices the first day of school. The worst.
Yep.
Conference, MVAC. Very tough conference. It's very well known on Northeast Ohio. MVAC's tough conference. You got Springfield, Lowville, both on your schedule this year. What are some games you guys are – I know you don't always want to look forward. You're looking forward to Trinity right now, but let's skip a page. What are some games you're really looking forward to and seeing how your guys contest?
Well, we really do have that. It's a very hardline rule in our program with not looking ahead. You know, I was texting back and forth with a friend of mine who's the defensive coordinator in Columbiana, where I'm, you know, and we were kind of joking back and forth, and I said, I'm not, we haven't even looked at any Columbiana film. I didn't even pay attention to the score last week, you know, because we're focused on Trinity. But with that being said, you know, the conference is very good.
Yes.
I don't, you know, but, you know, and I don't know. The basic belief I have is that, you know, if you want to be good, you have to play good teams, or else how would you ever learn anything about yourselves? You know, being 10-0 and playing in 10 blowout games does not give you, you know, the battle-tested, you know, games that you're going to need in playoffs. So we like the tough schedule. Western Reserve certainly has a history of playing a tough schedule. So I think Mineral Ridge is very good. You know, they returned some guys. They've had a couple of playoff years in a row here. Coach Shander does a great job there. Lowellville seems to be on an amazing run. You know, they keep graduating guys, and you keep thinking like, oh, you know, they don't have a receiver, and then lo and behold, they got another receiver. So their skill seems to be, you know, I saw them lighten up the scoreboard a little bit on Friday night in Springfield. And Springfield's a litmus test in our conference. If anybody tells you different, they're lying to you. You know, that's who we have all been chasing the last few years. You know, and I think we're closing that gap. You know, and it's a difficult test. You know, because you know, they're going to be fundamentally sound and well prepared. So there's certainly a lot there. And then you get into our rivalry games. You know, McDonald and Jackson Milton. You know, everybody in Berlin Center wants to win McDonald and Jackson Milton. You know, so I think that, and those teams have been good. You know, both of them on the upswing. So I think it's pretty challenging. And I think we played, in 12 weeks last year, I think we played 8 playoff teams or 9 playoff teams. Wow. And it looks to be the same this year. You know, we started off with 2 Division V playoff teams and then a Division VI playoff team out of conference. And then you get in the conference. So it's a meat grinder. And you got to stay healthy and you got to get better. You know, but it seems like our guys enjoy that. They enjoy that test.
You guys only got 4 home games in the regular season, hoping for 2 more in the playoffs. What are some of the challenges you guys got to face with, you know, scheduling buses, getting kids places? You know, it's not that convenient to have 6 away games. It sucks. What are some of the challenges you guys are facing, and how are you going to overcome them?
I've never had much luck with scheduling. You know, it seems like in 23 years in coaching in the Valley, the teams that I've coached on seem to never have had much luck when it comes to scheduling. You know, and I always wonder, like, how does this team get them to play? How do they get them to play? You know, and it's like, you know, I guess I wear that as a badge of honor because not a lot of people want to play. You know, so we have to kind of take what we can get, to be quite honest with you, and we're going to play up. You know, we've told our boys and our coaches that's what's the fact of the matter. When you have success, you're going to play up, and I think we're up to that challenge. But, you know, we would like to do that eventually, get some more home games down the line. But, you know, there's an awful lot that we have to do before we get there. But yeah, we're going to be on the road a lot, so that just means they're going to try to jam all those school functions into those 4 home games. You know, every week's going to be something.
I have a lot more questions, but we have 15 more weeks of football. So there's a lot more interviews I have with you. And I interview a bunch of the coaches, a bunch of the kids throughout the season. I'll ask you a fun question. Summertime, pre-football, what's Coach John Armeni doing?
You know, I really like hanging at the pool with the kids. So I have 3 young kids, and I don't get the opportunity to do that as much as I should. You know, but I like doing that, and I like going to ball games. I like taking my son to baseball games and being with the family and, you know, having a hot dog and, you know, relaxing a little bit when the sun sets. So, you know, we're an active family. We like doing things. You know, the kids love amusement parks, so we're always going to Cedar Point. I think that's kind of what we do to enjoy some time. But, you know, high school football season is a marathon, not a sprint. So I'm sure we'll see each other again.
Oh, yeah, and I'm just so happy we're in Ben's. We're in Berlin Center, the community. We got a lot of people out here, but I want this place packed by the end of the season. I mean, we have 3 sections. They scheduled one off for us, and we're kind of overflowing into the top one. Next week, the whole football team's coming. So we want this whole place filled with Western Reserve, blue and red. Get this place bumping. A standing room only.
If you build it, they will come, right?
Yes, indeed. Coach, thank you so much.
You. Pleasure.
It's going to be a hell of a season, and can't wait to see what you guys do Saturday.
Me too.